Welcome to this edition of Theory 8 Golf Instruction. He's BJ Safran. I'm John McGinnis. We're once again at the Cape Fear Country Club here in Wilmington, North Carolina. And today, BJ, we're going to take a better look at the short game, a more comprehensive look at practice.
Yeah, today we want to really focus on practice sessions and trying to get the most out of your practice session. A lot of students that we see don't understand skilled practice sessions. And so we really want to kind of talk about from the chipping area what a skilled practice session actually looks like if you had an hour time to practice.
Which can eliminate some chips, some chunks, some skulls.
Absolutely.
All those things.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the problems with practice is we'll go to where we're good also, and we'll just get in a routine. And so what we want to do is trick our body and our muscle memory and really have a skilled practice session.
All right, well, let's go take a look.
Let's do it.
So BJ, we have found ourselves on the chipping green here at Cape Fear Country Club. You've enlisted Walter and Jack to demonstrate for us. Tell us what we're going to take them through.
Yeah, so we've got Walter, who's a freshman here in high school. We've got Jack, who's a freshman here in college. They're different skill levels. One's a 6, one's a 15. So this kind of shows that this works for anybody. Skilled practicing works for anybody on any level. What we want to do is create a program where you hit 10 shots from 7 different stations. That's how we've set this up. And what we want to do is go through our normal pre-shot routine for each shot at each station.
Remind me again, you told me off camera, why 7 different stations?
7 different stations is an important part because we want to not get into the muscle memory or just a routine of hitting or a groove the same shot. We can do that over and over again, but chipping, as you know, is such a finesse area of your game that you don't want to groove something. You want to really be able to hit chips from everywhere.
You want to react.
You want to react.
Let's let them react.
All right, great. So what we got here first is just a standard chipping situation. You know, you've probably got 40 feet of run out here. You're 5-6 yards off the green. So you guys go ahead and hit a couple chips. And so, you know, what you want to do at this first station is really just kind of get in your chipping form, really think about your fundamentals. Get the feel of chipping and being around the green. So you just hit, you'll hit your 10 shots from here, standard chips. You know, one of the key things to this too is one thing that I like to do with my students is have it scripted out. I kept a book when I played, and I would have my practice sessions script out. The team that I coach, we have scripted out practice sessions that the boys can print off. And so you really want to kind of log it if you need to. And you can even in that log, you can keep how well you did at each station while you go through it.
Makes perfect sense. Let them hit one more from here. Each one seemed to get a little bit better.
Yep, and that's what you want to see. You want to see each one of the 10 get a little better, get a little more comfortable in your chipping, and then we will go to the next one.
BJ, we've moved from the simple uphill chip to a little farther back. Where are we?
Yeah, so we want the next shot to be kind of a full-length chip is what we would call it. And so you want to have 20 to 30 yards off the green and a far flag. And so that's where the decision making starts to come in. One of the things we don't want you to do is use the same wedge all the time for every shot. That's part of it. And so we want to go from just a standard chip to kind of a long one where you got to choose, do you want to bump and run it, or do you want to fly it there? Whatever you like to do. You could do a couple, that's the one thing about the stations too, you could do a couple different options with your 10 balls.
Sure, absolutely. Gentlemen, fire away.
So the reason we put this one after the standard chip shot is we want to now that they're comfortable in their fundamentals of chipping, we want them to have to take a little bit longer swing.
Right. To
work on their fundamentals just a little bit more. And really refine that and hone that in. And we want to create some kind of muscle confusion, and so we go from a standard length to, quite a lengthy chip. That's right. You want all these stations to be in what we call true chipping form.
BJ, we went from a short one to a relatively long chip, and now we're very close to the green here.
We are, and it goes back into the decision making. We want to put you really close to the green on the third one. We've had a standard chip. We've had a really long one. Now we want to be close. And what does that decision making process look like? You've worked on fundamentals at 2 different locations, and now we got to really test them.
This is the one that most of the amateurs at home fear the most. You know what I'm talking about? This is the Chunkopotamus.
Yep.
You can lay the sod over this one and look silly and get picked on.
This is one of those
How's that
chips.
for an image, guys? Go right ahead.
Yeah, this is one of those chips where you can literally putt it. You can, some
Yeah.
people are using a hybrid to chip this. Some people go lofty with it because the pin's up close. So it's really into the decision making.
All right, so where would we go from here? Take us through the rest of the station.
Yeah, so the rest of the stations, we've got 4 more stations that we would go to. We go to a mid-range shot, and by mid-range, we mean 10 yards off the green, and you've got a longer flag than our first standard position. So similar from distance from the green, longer flag. So now you got to work on possibly running it, chipping and running it, or flying it, whatever works best for you. Then we would go into the bunker. So now we're going to start getting into lofting the club, powering through some sand, and change up some of that a little bit. Again, creating more muscle confusion and really having to focus on what we're doing. That's another big component of this, is you got to really focus when you go to each stage. When you just go to one spot and chip for a long time, you don't really have to think too much, and we want you thinking about what you're doing. After the bunker shots, we would go back into another standard chip. So go back to kind of where you started.
Where you started.
Yeah, you can go back to where you started. You can pick a different one to see a different
better
look.
by now.
You should be better. You should start to be feeling more comfortable. Maybe when you go back to that standard one, if there was a club you used at another location, maybe use it there. And so then lastly, we would go into a flop shot. Obviously, that's the glory shot. That's the one everybody wants to do. But we want to do that last because we don't want to do flop shots in the middle of your chipping skilled practice, and then you go into a standard chip when you've just gone into a flop situation.
Stay tuned here at Theory 8 Golf. We will take you through these individually at a later date and give you the fundamentals of how to hit each one of these shots.
That's right.
Sounds great. Gentlemen, good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. We saw some made chips. It's awesome.